they have the resources and they have the answer to who is going to be in charge of deploying this, because it doesn't matter which platform you work with, they all require that focus and attention to detail. If they don't have that, MSP Builder is a great option for them to consider, because we take that all away from them. With a minimal amount of effort, we can deploy the RMM platform and make sure that it's functioning to its fullest capacity.
Ever deployed an RMM out of the box only to be buried under an avalanche of alerts and chaos? Or felt trapped in a never-ending cycle of tickets, wondering when you'd finally get to focus on growing your business? Guy Baroan and Glenn Barnes at MSP Builder know that struggle all too well. Frustrated by the same challenges, they decided enough was enough and built a game-changing solution, MSP Builder. Now, they're here to share their journey, insights, and the tools to help MSPs break free from the noise. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. It's going to be a good one.
But first, before we go any further, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. My name is Madhur Duggar. I work in the IT and software M&A space, and this is my podcast series, M&A Insights. If you are interested in having a conversation around the strategic direction of your firm, or looking to grow your book and want some marketing and business development help, or are an investor looking to make an acquisition in the space, write to me at podcastwithmadhur, that's MADHUR, @gmail.com, or reach out to me on LinkedIn. Guy, Glenn, welcome to my show. Thank you so much for joining. I'm very excited to have you here. The last few recordings with other people who have come on this show have all been of a very technical nature. So I feel like I'm on a roll here with some technical themes, and I'm very excited to have you guys talk about MSP Builder. Tell us a little bit about the story behind MSP Builder. What inspired you to start the company?
Well, the process started when I started working for Guy about 10 years ago, and he was struggling with some alerts and automation. And we brought in and started with standards, started building some automation, and we really got everything under control. We had a significant reduction in the number of alerts that came in. We started getting more consistent automation and automated response to alerts. And it allowed Guy to focus more on building the business, going out and working with the customers. And at the same time, the adoption of standards that we developed helped bring the business forward. We reduced the number of interactions that were required with customers, which meant more time for the techs to do more proactive work. So really, it was a real game changer in the operations. And after a year of operation, some of the interesting things that we found was that we were able to reduce the amount of time that techs spent working on alert tickets by close to 50%. And that was a real cost savings. Plus, it reduced the stress on the engineers that were handling all of these calls. We also reduced the number of alerts that came in, and the alerts that did come in were more accurate because we had some intelligence built into the monitoring.
Okay. Guy, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, just prior to Glenn coming in, we were no different than anyone else when they go and get an RMM tool to bring in-house. Right? Everyone tells you that all you need to do is apply the templates and they'll help you get it up and running. And you go, you bring it in, you get your system set up, you deploy it to all of your endpoints, you apply all the templates, you get everything ready to go, and you turn on the monitoring. And now all of a sudden you're getting flooded with thousands of alerts. So we were no different than what the typical deployment process is. We got overwhelmed with the amount of alerts. So we ended up turning them off and then putting together a game plan of, okay, how are we going to tackle these, right? So we started looking at the ones that were coming in the most and started working on it. And at that time, we threw bodies at it. So for about 3 years prior to Glenn coming on, we were throwing extra people on the alerts. We turned them back on, and we started working on managing them, creating scripts and ways to handle them. But we needed more bodies. As our business was growing, we needed more people to hire. And we had a conversation internally with the ownership, and basically it was decided, rather than just buying another body or bringing in more people to look at the alerts as they're increasing, let's bring somebody in that can actually help leverage the tool to do what it's supposed to do, to really understand everything and put it in place the way it is supposed to run. And that's really what Glenn came in. That was Glenn's ask when we brought him in. But then he ended up taking it to a whole new level beyond what was just available. And, to Glenn's point, we had at that time 3 people that were monitoring the help desk, and we needed to, as we were growing, bring in another 2 bodies. And at that time, when Glenn started doing all the back end work to make sure that the RMM platform we were using was really being leveraged for all of the power and capabilities that it has, we found that, after all the alerts were now being auto remediated and the number of alerts went down, we were able to not only not hire those 2 additional people, but now we were able to leverage the time that became available from the people we had and use them elsewhere in the business. So it was an incredible process. It really turned out to be very valuable.
What are some of the common challenges that MSPs face with RMM platforms that Builder aims to address?
So there's 2 really key things that we deliver that people always comment on. The first is monitoring. They get all these alerts and they aren't well processed. We actually built applications that replace many of the standard monitoring systems so that they can add some intelligence, decide to adjust to the environment automatically. That helps make the alarms more accurate and virtually eliminates the false alerts. And the second part is patching. Every RMN can patch an endpoint. The problem that we find is that they aren't providing a fully integrated solution. Yes, we can deploy the patches, we can reboot the machine, and we can send out notifications to the user that, hey, we're going to patch. They're all separate systems. We took a different approach and we started bringing the patching into the endpoint. It gets scheduled and controlled and functions from the endpoint itself. When we spend that, we actually look at the patch configuration every day. We decide the patching is going to happen in 2 days. Let's automatically scan and prepare for patching today. If it's a workstation, we detect that patching is tomorrow. Let's display a reminder to the user today automatically, no matter what the schedule is. And then when it comes to the actual patching, our patching integrates with our reboot tools. So we can enforce the reboots if no one is logged in or if we're operating after hours. And if we start patching because we have missed the schedule, we resume during the workday, we can get those patches deployed. But when it comes time to reboot, our system detects that a user is logged in. It's a business work time. If we suppress that reboot, instead ask them if they want to reboot, and they can defer that. Then our intelligence continues to limit how long they can defer that reboot and forces a reboot to occur by the end of that day. And that helps our clients achieve the astronomically high client.
One of the conversations we had was the context of an M&A transaction, where you have a MSP buying another MSP. Now you're trying to integrate the technologies together, And you mentioned how you had how your product would really be able to do that integration very, very smoothly. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So we have automation tools available that help migrate from one platform to another. We've had some of our customers move from one platform to another, for example, from VSA to Data RMN or to Ninja. We're working with a customer right now that just acquired an MSP in Texas that's running Enable. That they use VSA internally, so we're starting to do the migration for them. And even if it's an upgrade, like you're moving from an old platform to a new platform, we helped a customer in the UK about 3 weeks ago stand up a new platform and then migrate all of their agents from the old to the new. They had 2,800 agents. They were done in under 4 hours. And a lot of other organizations will take days, if not weeks, to accomplish this. And we had a customer that we had quoted, and they decided to let their tech do it. 800 devices to migrate to from VSA to Ninja, and it took them 8 weeks. We did that for another customer in 3 days.
Talk to us in ROI in any way you want, hours saved, money saved. Give us a sense for like what it means for
So
bottom line. Yeah.
yeah, so from an ROI perspective, the solution that we offer probably is one of the few tools that really absolutely provides an ROI right out of the gate, because what we replace is automation with labor. Right? A lot of companies have a major issue trying to find help. Right? What's the biggest concern that everybody has? It's about being able to find talent. People come and go from an MSP, from a technology organization all the time. There's no consistency with what is being done for the endpoints that are being managed, whether it's in an organization like an enterprise or if it's a managed service provider that's managing other clients. Our tools provide consistency. They provide the automation that every one of the industry leaders has told us. How do you get away from having the issue of finding the right person? You do that by leveraging automation, because time is our most valuable resource. And the only way to get it back is by leveraging all the tools that you have. If the RMM platform manufacturers had the true out of the box experience, we wouldn't be around, right? We would basically, we wouldn't be needed. But the truth is, it's a big sales and marketing effort that they make about buy our tools, apply the templates right out of the box. It'll work for you and it'll save you time. And what ends up happening is, as an MSP, when you bring in a new tool, we are overwhelmed with the amount of time and effort that we're spending on just keeping the business running, right? We're constantly chasing, putting out fires, being reactive. It's very difficult to be proactive. So what happens is because of that, nobody ever really has a chance to fully deploy whatever solution, whether it's an RMM platform or anything else, properly. And then they get upset when it doesn't work the right way or it didn't fulfill the promise. So that's where we help, right? There's an ROI. When you buy an RMM platform and you don't have the resources or the know-how, because even if you had the resources, how do you know that that person or people that you put in charge are going to do the same kind of job that's necessary to make that tool work for you the right way? And that's what we offer. We offer the consistency. We offer the true out-of-the-box experience with the tool to be able to leverage all of the capabilities that it has. So now you've come back, you've taken back all of that wasted time and effort that you have with your people, where you don't have to hire additional people, or you could take the people that were doing the alert monitoring and managing the help desk, and now you can assign them somewhere else within the organization on projects or for something else, because you're going to gain that time back. So the ROI is labor, and labor is the most expensive part of any business to run, and that's what we give back.
from an ROI perspective, you know, we don't just talk about it. We actually collect telemetry data from every customer on every event that is processed. So we know how many alarms are being triggered for a customer, how many our software are addressing, and how many are actually turning into tickets that a human has to address. And the customers can actually go and see this telemetry results through our management portal. And a lot of customers are seeing 50, 60, 70% reductions in time. And the customers that really take uh, advantage of and create custom remediations or engage us to do that are getting remediation results upwards of 80%. And it varies day to day, week to week, but we look at the 30-day running average. And if a customer is hitting 60% reduction in the number of alert tickets that their team has to address, they're the system's paying for itself.
Mhm.
And we actually take that data and bring it into a calculation, and based on the number of devices and number of engineers and the average cost of labor, and the customer or prospect can actually enter this information, we assume that we're going to save you at least 11 to 12% in your time.
In terms of emerging trends in the MSP industry, specifically around automation and around what the automation platforms might look like, any comments, thoughts about where we're going to be, 5 years out from here?
So I can tell you that there are a lot of AI solutions that have come out.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI solutions, what we're seeing is that where they are right now is a good starting point. But they are typically working after a ticket is created. They're typically working from the PSA side. We're a little bit unique. We avoid, right? So our goal is to auto remediate issues before they become a ticket.
Mhm.
So what happens is our goal is to minimize the amount of tickets that you have. And if you heard what Glenn said,
Mhm.
some of the clients, right? Everybody, it's unique. Everybody has a different experience, but we have some clients that are experiencing 80% auto remediation. So imagine 8 out of 10 alerts that would automatically become a ticket. 8 of the 10 just go away. They get auto remediated, so they never make it to become a ticket that's something to work on. Now, what that means is not that we don't track the information, because when we auto remediate, we do collect all the information, what the system did, what device it worked on. We open and create the notes, add the notes, close the ticket out. So there is a tracking within the PSA of what the system did. But 80% in some instances of the alerts that would become tickets get automatically removed. So now, if you have our tool and you are not creating a ticket, now you're dealing with 2 tickets out of 10. So now, if you have AI and we feel that's going to be good, what can AI do with those 2 tickets? You can now get to a point where you could potentially have over 90% auto remediation when you combine the solutions. So think about that. You could have level 1, level 2 auto remediation in an MSP environment where 90% of the alerts and issues that come up from the RMM platform get auto remediated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is that? That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah,
And
that is.
to add to that, one of the things that our technology does is it places a code into the ticket, and that code can be identified with AI. So instead of an AI solution having to parse a natural language ticket event, it looks for the code and says, hey, when that code occurs, this happened and this is what I should do.
Oh, I see.
That response occur more quickly, more accurately.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you offer to new MSPs when they're implementing effective RMM strategies in today's landscape?
So my advice to any MSP that's looking to leverage an RMM platform is really understand that there is no magic solution out there. No matter what you decide on from an RMM platform, if you have the resources available to you and you're going to invest the time and the energy to be able to properly deploy an RMM platform, you may be successful. But some of the challenges that you might face is, do you have the right person? And will that person stay with you to be able to continue along the journey? Because what happens if they implement and they leave? You're in a bad situation. So really understanding that concept, if they have the resources and they have the answer to who is going to be in charge of deploying this, because it doesn't matter which platform you work with, they all require that focus and attention to detail. If they don't have that, MSP Builder is a great option for them to consider, because we take that all away from them. With a minimal amount of effort, we can deploy the RMM platform and make sure that it's functioning to its fullest capacity. And then not only that, but let's say they don't have the resources, we have options where we can manage the RMM platform for them on a monthly basis as well, to really help them leverage everything out.
That makes a lot of sense. What is a risk that the sector is not talking about or not appreciating that you think can materialize in the near future? By near, I mean 5 years.
One of the things that I see as a hidden risk is bad automation. I can't tell you how many times that I'm on a public forum and somebody is writing a script with uh, embedded credentials to access an API, and an API is a very powerful interface. And if your script in plain text is compromised, not only do they have the credentials to get into your system, they have the ability to do that without actually logging in and just managing the API integrations. I really think it's a hidden danger.
Guy, did you want to add something to this?
Yeah, just, the biggest risk that most managed service providers have today is an overabundance of solutions, right? And the wasting of time, right? And I don't see that slowing down, because there are so many areas of opportunity for solutions to come in and solve in our industry. We have such a complex environment that we have to manage, all the different clients, the types of work they do, the applications, and how do you manage all of it? So the big risk is that there's so much opportunity for wasted time, because everything always has a tool or a solution for it. So being able to really understand what the needs are, not just jumping from one tool to another, which may hamper them from finding the right tool, the things that they really need to help them, with their time and successfully run their business.
And when you're running in all those different directions, it's really easy to miss something.
Mm-hmm.
Often what gets missed is the security component.
Mm-hmm. That's the Guy. Glenn, thank you so much. This was a fantastic session. I think I've got some great information out of you. I really appreciate your showing up on my show to talk about MSP Builder and RMMs and what you can do there to make people's lives easier. So I hope to meet you at a conference sometime soon, and let's keep up the dialogue.
Thank you, Madhur. Appreciate you having us.
Thank you.